Yo. So I'm sitting here adding music to my library, and I had just finished, and I'm pulling up my email, or I pulled up my email and I saw I have a notification. So when I click the notifications here, or if I refresh this, there's going to be a new notification, right? So that you see that this is fresh. It's from 10 minutes ago, and it's from someone that says, "Thanks for having this. Got to see myself rage again for VR. This show was great," right? And the reason I'm bringing this up is that let's look at this. It's a an account from 2012, but that is, it looks like a bot account, right? And oh, hold on. Well, I didn't change to this view, but this is what I meant to be on when you click this. Obviously, 11 minutes ago, and it's fresh in my um, it's fresh on my thing. And so this is what I've been trying to explain to my parents that my digital identity and my computer system is completely compromised in based on what I can see. And the reason I say that is I got this after downloading this new music, right? And I haven't had a message, like I can go to my email and show like none of these messages are on this show specifically. The last comment on this show, it says you can see 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, a year ago, 2 years, and 14 minutes ago. And this comes immediately after downloading the Virtual Riot, who is this artist, right? This show is a Virtual Riot uh, upload of a show that I went to at the end of 2021. And, this artist whose art in this instance is specifically about like a simulation, like being like in a virtual reality simulation. Um, and, seems to mirror some of the stuff that is going into my mix currently, the Insane Asylum mix. And, the art specifically that I'm about to show here looks very similar to the Ghost in the Shell art, which I'm putting together. And, part of my point with this is that it seems to me the fact that immediately I get this comment that when I'm trying to explain to my parents that my accounts are compromised, that people, when I had a significant amount of cryptocurrency stolen in the BitGrail instance, I 100% am positive something abnormal going on with that. I mean, I don't even know for sure. I can't prove for sure that that actually happened, that someone didn't just steal my cryptocurrency. In the same way, my car was stolen within a few weeks of that, all while I was living with Joel Macaluso, who doesn't seem to want to speak about this, even though I'm almost positive he's aware something is going on. And so, if he's not, he's absurdly imperceptive to the point where I don't understand how he could be considered as intellectual as he is. So I know that he's lying, essentially. When I'm looking at this and it says, "Can you see me?" When I pull up these, when I'm going through the music that I'm going through, and let's first of all let me go back just so I can show the virtual riot thing that I'm trying to show. This is I'm showing from my laptop because um I don't have my library on my desktop. But you can see the idea of this is the simulation, right? And this was literally just added. You can see the time here, 3:30 p.m., right? And you can see this, and I had just finished. You can see me finishing would have been like right around here where I'm downloading this. I downloaded this one off Beatport. So I get my music from, or a lot of it from this forum, which I've been getting it from for a while. And for quite a while now, when we go to Like hypothetically, we go to my genre tabs here. We can pull up different genres, but for a while it has seemed like these artists are being used to communicate. Like the artists themselves are communicating a point, and then the people posting this stuff are trying to communicate a point using the artists in the same way that I do when I put these mixes together, except I generally do it in order to defend myself from a bunch of artists that are seemingly being empowered by whatever abusive system, the same type of system that they would all say that they are fighting against. Well, they're being used to like very obviously harass, psychologically harass me, and try to make me feel like I'm in some kind of box. And I mean that's like literally as I'm going through the thing. If I pull up like, how about we pull up the drum and bass one, or maybe the deep dark dubstep one. Um, like just the names of the tracks, and then as I'm going, like normally as I'm going through this, I'm starting from, I'd be like back here, so like this is the point where I had last downloaded stuff, so you can see that these are grayed out essentially because I've already gone through them and listened to it. I had been listening to every track, and like whatever I like, I'd grab. But it's getting to the point where it's like it's less about even being musically good and more about just making points to me. And so the music has dropped off, and it just is really honestly psychologically abusive and evil and shitty. All these people should feel like shit, honestly. And trust me, Yahweh is going to make this a problem for anybody and everybody. Why? Because it's wrong, first of all. But them being an obstacle, again, seemingly empowering whatever this thing is that's trying to mess with me, is wrong. And like all these people being hypocrites to such, like, this degree is like, or a lot of them. If you aren't, I mean, you should speak up about this because it's wrong, right? But people don't want to engage that. Why? Because most of them are paid off, and they get social credit for being like, uh, I don't know, like these artists who absolutely, some of the higher level artists absolutely are paid off by whatever the system is in order to like mess with me. And they're paid again via, it doesn't have to just be money, right? Um, social credit, like favors, whatever it may be that you're given to use your art as some sort of mechanism to tear me down, it's ending. Yahweh is absolutely going to make a point to you with the people that you love most. Hey, it's premeditated, it seems, right? I mean, you get it? So this absolutely needs to stop because it's cripplingly evil and hurtful. And I think everybody who's participating should feel like shit, and they should realize they've put themselves and their families and the people that they love most in extreme danger. So I'm saying this here now. Stop, or it's going to be a problem for you. I like the music. I like music, right? I don't like when the music is very specifically aimed at me, like a weapon, right? And so if it seems like my mixes are, they seem weaponized or something, like it seems odd, and hey look, the Gritzy remix. It seems really odd, like how is this going on? It's that it's weaponized against me, and Yahweh just basically makes it to no effect, and then reflects it back in a way like, whatever you're trying to threaten me with, you are now under the gun for that, to such a greater degree in the light. You know what I mean? This is kind of in the dark, where I've been going through this for a while and it's hard to prove out what I'm saying, right? But at a certain point, it's gotten so obvious and overt. It is literally the thing that I'm talking about, where it's like Thessalonians, where there's some kind of thing going on in secret, and it gets brought out in the light. It's a rebellion in secret. What are they rebelling against? Me? They aren't rebelling against the system that's stealing all the resources and making their lives terrible. They're rebelling against Matthew Wilkins, the guy who's literally been abused by this system to the point where It's stolen my life to the point that literally the Bible is about Yahweh himself giving me his position to make up for what these evil people have done. But these, all these artists seemingly want to take money from this system that in the light of day they would have to say they aren't fans of, because it's just literally everything they claim to hate. And yet they're willing to support it for money because they're sellouts and losers. That's what can you can anybody explain this in any other way to these artists that I've gone and seen? Like I'll say this one, Moon Vision here. I'm literally like, it fits what's in my story and pictures, like what has been in my story and pictures recently. And I'm literally about to make this mix. Like before I got on here to look at this stuff, my decision was to move on to the Maggie Moon mix. So I'm going from the Insane Asylum Part 1 mix. The Insane Asylum, because people are doing this kind of psychologically harassing stuff, and at a certain point, it is damaging to mental health, which is why I'm also saying to the people, here in Houston that have any complaints, you can't allow this to happen to this degree, where there's like an army of artists and actors or whatever playing roles where their whole intent is to cause me mental health issues and then hold me to account in a way that you aren't holding them. That's beyond fucking absurd. So that's why it's ending. And that's why whoever is causing this, I'm bringing them out into the light and I'm throwing them in the burning lake. You understand that? That's what this is. That's what this always has been. So whoever this adversarial character is, and it's causing problems for everybody. Obviously, you can see that it's not just nothing. If you think it's nothing, then either you're stupid or you're lying. So, I just, it is one of those things that it's like, uh, like to this, when I'm looking at this and it's like, is this still up? And it's like, can you see me? Yeah, Rez, I can see you. It seems like everybody can see you. You get it? My eye is open, just like when I'm doing this thing on in my mixes here, right? And the eye opening here. This is what I'm saying. At a certain point, this was plausibly deniable that there weren't a bunch of people harassing me and like trying to cause me psychological harm and hurt, and that's hurting my family. And it has been since I was in college and before then, but for sure this has been going on since I've been in college. And that they're trying to make points that are like, sexually disturbing and hurtful, and that they're making money off of it like sellouts, and that none of them would agree that this is okay to do to them, and yet they're willing to sell themselves out in order to be artists for a system that is totally willing to not support them, not support the cause that they care about, not, it's everything they claim to hate, and yet they're willing to take money from it in order to harass and abuse my life away from me. And so when I take action to end it, there isn't going to be a fucking word to tell me that I'm in the wrong for doing this. Because I've spent years, literally an exact number of days I've counted out, 7 years worth, dealing with this, where it's been such a problem that it's disrupted my life to the degree where I've been homeless, where I've been robbed multiple times. I've had more money, even more recently, I've had a bunch of cryptocurrencies taken from me. And I know that something is watching and could fix it and engage it, and it isn't. For some reason, the people that. So these people are doing this, right? And then what is generally considered the lawful authorities are also on the adversarial side against me, which is absolutely fucking absurd. So that's why this is a problem. Again, the police pretended that they couldn't tell that something was going on. As if, again, Detective Nick Vo here in Houston, Texas, clearly there's something going on, right? You are either completely inept as a detective or corrupt. It is one or the other. And being that, even the police chief here in Houston is going through issues because hundreds of thousands of cases got a code where they said they didn't have enough people to look into like sexual assault cases and all sorts of other cases, literal rapes and, probably murders and stuff too. Yeah, this is why you don't have the authority, first of all, to deal with this stuff. You don't seemingly have the capability. But on the other hand, you ended up helping these people because when I asked for help originally, either, again, completely inept to the point where why are you even in a position of police authority, or completely corrupt. And again, then why in the light of day would you be in a position of police authority and not under arrest yourself? So, being that that's the case, when I take action to end this, in a way that, again, you're not going to hold me to account on this. I'm going to take action in only a way that something known as deity, only a way that Yahweh could. But when it happens, you're not going to hold me to account. Because it's me holding you to account when you've already lied and slandered me and harassed me and stolen my life away from me and have been doing it and lying on it for so long. It's mind boggling. So I'm ending this here. I'm ending this video here, but the fact that me getting this notification like instantly after downloading within 15 what I guess within the period of time that I finished, so like an hour after I downloaded, you already saw it's been years, right? It says years between. So the fact that just here that this was allowed, that I was allowed to see this, right? And even this thing, Chapel Brown or Chappelle Brown. I mean, is this some kind of people are actively trying to cause me, mental disturbances anyway, trying to connect things in my head using, you know, points and people's names that would be uncomfortable for me. And again, the whole point is to be psychologically disturbing. So if I seem disturbed, it's obvious as to why. But you can't hold me to account without holding like a siege work of what seems to be psyops or like mental, like not just distraction, but like mentally uncomfortable weaponized art specifically aimed at me, right? You aren't going to hold me to account. And if you do, the whole point is that's why what it says in Revelation, that's why. This this is why. So I could, I could sit here and talk on for a while. I could get really heated over it and blah blah blah. I'm not going to, but like it is frustrating when I asked for help a long time ago and I didn't get it, and in fact then the police, well, I didn't ask the police for help. I just said it was going on, and like the people that should have been aware, in the same way that I'm saying like with Detective Nick Vo and the Houston police here, Joel Macaluso, a Rice mathematics graduate who should be more intelligent, and same thing Emilio Longoria, a Rice political science or history graduate, but both Rice grads. I've known Emilio since he's my oldest friend. I mean, is he a friend? Is Joel a friend? Nobody feels like friends anymore to me. At this point, both of them, everybody has to earn my trust back because at this point, I don't trust anybody. And I haven't for a long time, but I mean, outwardly, I'm letting you know that this is why, too. And that there is impetus on you. The weight is on you to be trustworthy again. When I said it last time and people pretended like they couldn't tell what was going on, this is what's going on. The only way this could be done is if my private digital space essentially is being manipulated and messed with by whomever. And nobody would agree that that's okay, right? You understand that? And it's not something that can be allowed by the government. I mean, actually, literally, I don't believe that this is something that the government is legally allowed to do. And so if it's being allowed by them and they're, or they're using this, it's like, almost like the artists are like mercenaries because they can't be attached to it. I will make sure to bring it into the light and hold you responsible. And that is honestly for you a much better outcome than what I'm going to do to some of these people. Not with, force as far as that kind of force, but the type of force that you can literally see going on around me that could only be attached to the deity known as Yahweh. Whether you believe that part or not, I don't care. He proves it out to me all the time. So when he proves it out just very publicly to everybody, that's why it's the end of the book. Oh, and I'm gonna go back and show one more thing. This is, I'm bringing up these spiritual things, and it's like, oh, blah blah. Why are you saying that? Well, I mean, when the thing is like demons in denial, like that's literally the title of the thing, and the thing looks like a some kind of Spriggan demon or something, and you got a bunch of demon looking things here, and you can listen to the thing where it seems like you or not tell people about our dimension or whatever. That's how the first track in my Insane Asylum radio mix goes, because that's been the thing. Like, it's almost like they're calling me some kind of rat. If I'm the one on the throne of Yahweh, whatever you're saying is yours is mine anyway. So you're the rat for trying to steal it away from me and then ratting to like a bunch of other people who'd be willing to steal shit away from me or from society or from, from something that's going to go into a future where nobody dies anymore, because that's the whole point of what the Bible has, like a kingdom of heaven where people don't die anymore, and I would say we rave over Yahweh into infinity. And it's like it is literally a party into infinity. It is the kingdom of heaven. No death, everything's provided. Like, everything that could possibly be desired is there. And yet these people are empowering the thing that it's like, hey, everybody dies, you still die, everybody you love is gonna die. Like, that is what the reality we're born into. And like the only thing and only person that I hear engaging this in any way to fix it is Matthew Ray Wilkins, because I'm actually saying what it seems to suggest at the end of the Bible, which is, hey, there's a deity called Yahweh. He sent his son Jesus to come and die so that you can have the good that he deserved. You can have that. And I'm accepting of that. And I will take that good. And what he deserved was to be Yahweh on the throne. And so I 100% have accepted that. Now, other people, what you can at least get out of this, even to these people who are like, it seems very specifically like some of this is just directly to fuck with me, right? And to cause me mental distress and, to be uncomfortable, to like try to make me uncomfortable while I'm dealing with something that is more uncomfortable than, this thing with the nerve where my right leg uh, is hurting more than to be hit by a car. When I got hit by a car, and I remark afterwards, yeah, the thing with my leg that's already going on hurts more than this. That they're empowering that's a problem, and that's why I'm ending it. So, because it's literally physically hurting me, because they figured out a way. It's like an advanced technique that science hasn't figured out yet. It's like a martial strike, right? Even maybe that way of describing it, a martial strike. But I'm spelling it MART, strike, martial, 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 strike on the thigh and on my right side of my being. And it physically hurts, as what's described in Genesis 32. Go listen to the mix. I already describe it out in the mix well enough. And people pretending like I'm not describing this well enough, well, they're just lying at this point. It's so obvious, it's hard to believe that people are even trying to get away with pretending they don't know what I'm saying. You have to be crazy at that at this point, if that's what you're saying. Like, you literally have to be incompetent if that's what you're saying. In the same way that I'm saying to the police, yo, something was going on and it's still going on. If you're so inept, it ain't it. Then I guess it was never your responsibility. It's mine. But if you get in my way, this is gonna be a problem. I'm acting as the police now. Do you understand? To the police, I have to tell the police that my act. And see, the thing is, when I say this, and it's a way to defend myself. First of all, you got one group, and it's like, oh, it's the police. It's like, no, I'm acting as them, not I am them. Something that should be protecting innocent people that isn't. I guess. How about this? Instead of the police, Batman. Am I Batman? Or is this what happens? Like, has it turned me into the Joker? And in real life, what the Joker would do is, a bunch of this comic book stuff. It's my IP now. I'm taking the IP because it seems to all be based around me. But like, I'm actually going to deal with it in a way that the police, either being paid off not to or told not to, haven't. I will. Yo, that's it. I don't, you know. And I'll say this: am I going to do anything physically to go out and hurt somebody? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying I can reach out in the same way they've reached out and touched me in a way they shouldn't. I'm going to reach out and touch someone. Actually, I'm going to reach out and touch multiple people. It's going to be very obvious. And this is why. All right. I'll even say this. When I'm saying this, if we go to the date calculator here, and I show you this, and then we go to the. All right, we are almost exactly 7 years to the day I've been counting. Every day. I mean, I'm not kidding. Um, Originally recorded on May 2nd, 2017. We are less than a week away. This one is the Yo Ka mix. This one is the Yo Kerr mix. Or the Yod Kof mix and the Yoker. This is probably me getting my right hand to actually reach out and touch someone. And, the sun is shining now because whatever had happened previously when I'm, trying to get this to go on, I guess that was nighttime, but we're 7 years later. Maybe that's 7 hours later. If that was midnight, we're at 7 a.m. The sun is risen or is rising, and in the light of day, this is a lot harder to stand. In the sense that it's a lot harder to pretend for these artists that they aren't bought and sold by a system that's using them to essentially put down the populace. And I'm just the person who stood up and said I wasn't going to take it. So this is why it's going to be a problem, because they're phony in front of the people that they want to claim to be, fighting the man or fighting the system. They are the man. They are the system. It's a system that is using, just money to buy and sell cheap people. And if they aren't that, don't make art specifically designed to hurt me psychologically. Help me, speak out for me, to me, not like, oh, there might be a thing that's blah blah. No, I exist. Engage me as such. So when this is again, and I just want to show this because I guess anybody could just edit originally recorded on. So let's real fast. This is the last thing. This is the last thing that we're gonna look at. When you go here and you can see that you can see this, right? Yeah. So Yod Kaf, Yoker. Yoka Yokur mix, right? Okay. Or the Yodkov DPH mix or the PhD mix because it looks like probably the smartest person you've ever met that I would have the patience, not just the patience, not just the wherewithal of what's going on, not just whatever, but to actually solve this problem. And I am solving this problem. But yeah, look when it and these mixes that every day, every one of these days where this is clicked in exactly 2,520 days, something around that, some significant event has happened around these days. I'm not going to say it in this video exactly what those significant events are, but I'll say it in a video that goes in my hard drive. And the fact that very clearly to me, people are listening to what's going on in my heart, like to those videos somehow, and looking at the story in pictures that I put in my picture gallery in my phone, like that I've literally made with my phone picture gallery because I realized quite a while ago I'm gonna have to take this head on if I'm gonna actually end it. If you want to hear what I'm gonna do or whatever, you can go listen to those videos. And very clearly, people already are, which is why I'm making this video. Is this difficult to deal with? Yeah, it's difficult to deal with for me. Is this difficult to deal with for you? Then this should be ended. 7 years ago, it should have ended. But, today is a better, I mean, it's a good day to end it too. You know what I mean? Is it better? No, 7 years ago was better. But today is a fine day to end this. So I'm going to get back to work on the Maggie Moon mix that I planned on working on, and it seems like people are trying to front run that anyway. And like, well, how would they front run that? Well, it's in my mix thing. It is one of the things, but also, I do think there's some other stuff going on with like advanced technology and stuff that would be like sci-fi stuff that when I start saying it, would be like, "Oh, he's just crazy." It's like, well, if I'm showing all this and I'm like, there is absolutely something going on. I'm positive I'm not just crazy. I might be a little, because I think everybody is. And I don't think there should be a standard to what crazy is and isn't. I mean, some people are problematic in the way that they're acting. Okay, I get that. They're hurting people or whatever. In fact, that's my whole point is that people are hurting me using like methods that they're trying to hide. And like up to a certain point, it's plausibly deniable. We passed that point. So that's it. And I'm gonna say also this. I'm not the police. I'm not part of whatever this thing is that people are like. It feels like a Venom suit that I've put on, right? Where I've been taken or something. I mean, not physically, but like my digital identity, my identity, who I am. And I think the anti venom is Yahweh, is Yah. Yo, Jesus. But Jesus has a father, and by revelation, Jesus has a new name. Now, the fact that I don't hear, like, I just also will pull this up. The fact that 50,000 people a week or something go to this church right here for Joel Osteen, right? I've never heard him say the name Yahweh. I've heard him say Jehovah maybe once or twice. Um, they generally avoid things or whatever because it's just a money making endeavor. It's not a real, like, none of I don't think any church is a real church these days. But what I've definitely not heard from him is that Jesus has a new name. What are you talking about, Matt? Yeah, in the book of Revelation, at the sixth church, Jesus changed his name. He said that 2,000 years ago. So the fact that any and all these pastors, or A little less than 2000, 1900. Okay, 2,000 years ago, 1900 years ago, Jesus says that he has a new name and equates it with the name of his father, Yahweh. What would that tell you about who Jesus is? And about, this name Yahweh being important? It would tell you a lot. So I'm going to say this. Joel Osteen is not the most important person as far in this church. I mean, in this city, Houston, Texas. Literally the guy from the end of the book of Revelation, the one who's conquering at the seven churches, who reads it as it is an if-then conditional statement set list that you're supposed to, actually match the conditions and be the person. I'm the only one saying it. I'm the only one doing it. I'm that person. It's very obvious. If you don't like it, tough. Because I have to be, whether I want to be or not. Oh, and, the final church thing, I grant you to sit with me on the throne. And then all the things that, all of the, hey, this is the message of the one with like eyes of fire or whatever, all the characteristics that are described, and all the are characteristics that the person in Revelation 19 has, the one who's like the Word of God. And then also, all those characteristics are characteristics like, not just all those characteristics, all the gifts are also shared by that person in Revelation 19 who is known as the Word of God. So what it very clearly seems to be is the person in Revelation 19 who is known as the Word of God. That person is the person conquering at the seven churches. That's very obvious. Again, we got the biggest church here in the United States. We got the biggest mega church maybe in the world here, or one of them. Why haven't I ever heard him talk about this? Because he's not that person, yet people are seemingly respecting and giving him money and giving him more support and whatever. And yet I'm just some crazy person here, supposedly crazy person here in Houston. And yet it would seem to be like, no, I'm the guy that's doing the thing. You can draw your own conclusions. Like, I'm the guy conquering at the seven churches. I'm the one victorious. It seems to be some kind of game that people are playing. I'm that person. Is this Victoria's Secret? Yeah. And I'm victorious. You get it? One of the reasons is because I'm not going to let anybody tell me I'm not. And when they do, Yahweh will deal with them. And if that ends up looking like the Joker is going to deal with them, I'm sorry. That's trademarked. The Yoker. That's me. Well, you don't want that. And if you do want that, all right, that's it. I mean, I'm going to post this on my YouTube. Some of this is like, I'm clearly very stressed by this, as far as in the sense of like anger. I'm angry. That's what I mean, more so that I have to be the one to say this out loud and to whatever. Is anything here, first of all, if you're taking anything here as like, I feel like posting something like this up, the police would try to find something to be like angry at me about for this. It's like, no, I should be angry at you. All these other people also should, because you're allowing this, which, again, the only reason that I lashed out at anybody or would do anything that anybody would find disturbing came after this was happening, and I asked for help for years, and people pretended it wasn't happening. And the only way that I pulled it out is they got so egotistical and prideful and arrogant that they are like, at this point, bragging about it. Because they think I couldn't put something together that shines a light on it bright enough and then deals with it sharp enough to actually end it. Which looks like I am. Looks like that's the fourth church thing and the third church. There's a double-edged sword, one with a double-edged sword, and there's also, one with the iron rod and the morning star. I'm going to suggest the morning star is the sun rising on this situation. And that, the suggestion is, well, the morning star, I guess that's Jesus, but it's also like if there's a bunch of stars around and stuff, because there does seem to be some bit of celebrity, celebrities are participating pretty clearly too. Enough evidence of that. Why would they do that? Because the thing that their industry plants and stuff, and like this threatens their industry because actual artists making music instead of just some money hungry executives that like have play games with these artists in the way that they literally control the artists by like doing evil stuff to them behind the scenes and then threatening them. That goes away in this future that I'm creating and that I want. So I'm ending it and we're going to something better. That's just what this is. If you don't like it, again, I don't care. Tough. I know I have to be. Again, don't really want to be. Okay, that's it. Have a blessed one. And if you've taken anything here as a threat, first of all, you're probably a bad person and you should feel threatened, right? Um you have probably acted illegally in a way that like you reasonably should be dealt with. So to whatever, and then to the police who are doing this, you've acted in a way that in the light of day you would face legal consequences as well. Perjuring yourself, first of all, unwise. Second of all, illegal. So, one of the reasons why it's unwise. I'm even going to ask this question. Is the Mickey Mac Troy thing that was going on with Stephanie Houston, Mickey Mac Troy, is that related to the police chief here? Was that whole thing some kind of police like rape endeavor into my reality where they're trying to use women as like traps to hurt me? Something has done that. Whether the police are involved or not, it seems like they are based on what I can see and what people are messaging over to me. But I can't trust anybody on anything at this point. I can only trust, what I can prove out. But at this point, I can prove out that something is going on, and it does seem like probably the police have done something wrong that they shouldn't have. That they're absolutely in the light of day going to have to make up to me, Matthew Ray Wilkins. And it has hurt my family to no end here. But it's, this is where the end is. So engage me on it. Clearly, this is not going away. Clearly, it is only going to get worse if you don't engage this reasonably and rationally. I'm not in the wrong here. I have literally the Bible to protect me. And just, the truth, which is what the whole Bible is about. All right, that's it. I don't have anything else to add. Or if you're offended by this, I don't care. If you're angry at this, good. You should be. Welcome to my world. Why don't you use it constructively to help me engage this? Because if you're against anything that I've said, you're in the wrong. I don't care who you are. This reality where people are doing this cannot stand in the light of day. And again, it looks like the sun is shining, the morning has come. All right, that's it. Have a blessed one. I'll catch you next time. Later. Yeah.